Shalom. First, we give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakafadash. Let's get into it with some reading of Job 5 and 12, some breakdowns on Job 5 and 12. I'm going to stop maybe about the 23rd verse, and let's get into it. This is Job 5 and 12. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so their hands cannot perform their enterprise. So that he is talking about the Most High Yahweh. He disappointed the devices of the crafty. The crafty is talking about the wicked elite, man, these Edomites. And he's gonna, stop their enterprise, which is the NWO. They're gonna get it, but they're not gonna be able to keep it. Verse 13, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. Yeah, headlong meaning you're going to fall head first, out of power. You're going to fall head first and crack that big ass head open. Esau, Edom, so-called white man, starting with the Amalekites, who are the chief tribe of Edom. Follow along with you Edomites. Verse 14, they meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in night. Yeah, they meet in the darkness, meaning they meet secretly, behind these closed door meetings at Bohemian Grove, the Bilderberg, meetings, Council of Foreign Relations, in the back room. They don't openly discuss what they're going to do, up in Davos, but they go behind closed doors and really get to the nitty gritty, the real meeting behind the meeting, and the topic is how they're going to suppress and oppress you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans and rule the world. That's what those meetings are all about. How they can continue to poison, kill, and destroy the nation Israel. And that's what they do. Verse 15 says, but he saved the poor meaning the Israelites, from the sword. In the modern day sword is the gun. It says from their mouth and from the hand of the mighty. In the hand of the mighty, it's talking about their military. Right now, they have the military out on the streets. They got a form of it, the National Guard. And they're talking about deploying, the troops, like Marines and the Army and all, eventually, when the Insurrection Act gets finally declared, because they got these National Guards where they want to have them ready. But I heard January, and I'm hearing by April, where they want the National Guard, a ready response team ready, by those months, in case civil unrest. So they're planning to go with their move, man, to crash the economy, and declare martial law, which is known as Jacob's Trouble. It says, verse 16, so the poor have hope. We're prisoners of hope. The Israelites, the elect, hopeful elect, we're prisoners of hope, because we're hoping we get delivered, when it's all said and done, and we hoping we become the elect to receive that salvation. It says, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth. Verse 17, behold, happy is the man whom the Most High correcteth. Therefore despise not thou the chastising of the Almighty. So you don't despise the chastening of the Most High. take it with cheer. Roughly paraphrasing where it says, even though the Most High slays me, though will I trust in him. So you have to keep that attitude. When things seem like it's not going your way, you're catching all hell. You still have to trust in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Because that's all we got to lean on as far as the hopeful elect. Because eventually the light's going to go out, the water's going to stop running, the trucks are going to stop running to fill up the grocery stores. The water's going to be out, the food. And you're going to have to rely on Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man, to get you through this hell that's getting ready to come place on right here in Babylon. This is where the most carnage is going to take place. Babylon's going to go out in a grand finale, man. It's going to be something never known or written about in history. It says like a time like none other, and that's Jacob's trouble. And the wicked elite, they're going to pull out all the stops in order to get their enterprise off the ground. To finally get it up and fully running. And if they have to crash their economy, cut the food off, and mow you Israelites down in the street, so they can get that birthright, which they think they're going to get the birthright, but they won't. They're willing to do it all. So the best thing for you to do, Jake, is turn to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua while we're still under a grace period. If not, we're just going to see you in the kingdom, man. You won't make it to the chariot. So we'll just see your ass on the other side, man. Lord willing, I'm at that number and get delivered. But man, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and end it off on that. Before I get out of here, give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Shalom.